Rawteur. Fatima is one of the main reasons Boyd's plan failed. If her connection to Smiley goes both ways, then the monsters would have known the plan before Kenny ever stepped out of the post office. But Fatima wasn't the only reason that Boyd's plan didn't work. There was Sophia, the totem, Boyd's health condition, and a few other clues that you may have missed. Therefore, this all tells me that none of these people are anywhere near close to being ready to enter the door under Colony House. Here's the thing about Fatima that episode 7 confirms. She can see through Smiley's eyes. I mean, we watched it happen when Smiley stopped Kenny from closing the door to the bus. How Fatima was able to all of a sudden channel Smiley's vision, we're not sure. But Smiley's bloodlust in that moment is a likely trigger. Remember, the reason Fatima is even working on the golem in the first place is because she says that she could feel Smiley's emotion as he feels them. So it would seem that this surge of bloodlust created that connection that we saw. But what ends up happening is even more than just Fatima being able to see what Smiley sees in real time. Because when Kenny is trapped on top of the bus, Smiley's transformation from human-like appearance to his creature-like appearance is thwarted before he can even attack Kenny because Fatima screams stop. And he does. But more than that, not only does Smiley stop, his transformation reverses slightly. And, he looks down at his hands confused long enough for Kenny to knock him off the bus and get to safety. Now, that's a very big deal. Fatima can control Smiley to some degree, almost like how you can control your ability to hit those like, hype, and subscribe buttons right now. Now, here's the question the episode opens but doesn't fully understand. If Fatima can see through Smiley and she can reach him enough to stop him mid-transformation, what can Smiley receive from Fatima? Because if that connection goes both ways, then anything Fatima hears or sees, Smiley is receiving too. So in the context of Boyd's plan, we begin to see exactly what went wrong. I mean, I remember thinking, why doesn't Kenny keep a talisman in his pocket? That way he can run into any enclosed structure. But that wasn't Boyd's plan. Instead, Kenny had limited routes after he stabbed the creature, which is what allowed them to block all of his exits except the bus, which also didn't make much sense because if they knew the plan and all of Kenny's safety routes, then why was the bus left unguarded? Unless there was something about the creature that was on the swing we were supposed to notice. I mean, I don't know, like you guys tell me if there's something that I missed there, but I'm just gonna chalk that up as like a minor gap in story logic, right? Once we started to see through Smiley's eyes as Fatima, I couldn't help but think she may have been the leak without even knowing it, right? The next question I had is, well, how would Fatima even know what the plan was, right? She's been in the room playing with mud for most of the season already. Only a few people knew about this plan. Boyd, of course, Kenny, Donna knew parts of it, Jade, Ellis, and Sophia. Now these two right here, Ellis would have certainly told Fatima, which is how I believe the info got to Smiley and then to the rest of the monsters. And of course we saw Sophia walk into the post office while Boyd was holding the totem and, of course, thinking the plan through. In that moment, she questions him. She second guesses the entire tunnel idea and kind of presses at his confidence. Now, was she trying to steal information? Maybe, but I think her first move was planting the seed of doubt. Make Boyd question himself. That's what she's been doing to everyone else this entire time. However, because Boyd is desperate to reassure people right now and show that they finally have something real, that desperation is exactly what makes him give Sophia information while he thinks he's comforting her. So Sophia is the visible leak. But here is what the episode is doing. Sophia is the obvious answer, the one the town will finally land on when Boyd starts asking the right questions about why the plan failed. He'll say to himself, well, who did I tell? Right? Now, this may also line up with Acosta finally finding something in the basement now that she has clear instructions to find something about the man in yellow. However, that means Fatima, our hidden leak, may never be considered at all. And nothing about what we've seen so far in Fatima's character suggests that she will tell the right people just how connected to Smiley she actually is. Therefore, Sophia will be the suspect who somewhat protects the actual leak. Now, Sophia's involvement isn't just about the plan failing. Her strategy in this episode is bigger than one night. I mean, I alluded to it earlier. She's creating unstable people inside of the group via doubt before the town is even able to make its next major move. Remember, Henry publicly challenged Boyd at the Colony House meeting. He rejected the explanation about Tabitha, Miranda, Jade, and the cycle. Right? His reaction is completely understandable. I mean, for one, because he's drunk, but also because he's grieving, overwhelmed, and being asked to accept something that dismantles everything he understands about his family. But Sophia is using that completely reasonable reaction against the group. And the hospital visions are making Henry's denial more dangerous. When Henry touched a drawing at Tabitha's house, and again when Jade is there in the gas station trying to snap him out of whatever trance he was in, Henry saw himself connected to an EKG machine. There was someone, a doctor, shining a light in his eyes, and in one vision, Victor was standing nearby. I mean, I already walked through the whole Abby parallel in my episode 6 video, which I'll connect up here. You should see the pop-up. So I won't rebuild that whole thing here, but if Henry starts treating those hospital flashes as proof that none of this that he's seeing in the town is real and that they're all dreaming or in a coma or that death is the way for everyone to wake up, he'll become dangerous to everyone because the hospital vision gives his doubt a visual that he can hold on to. And let's not forget, Henry isn't the only person Sophia has been working on. Mary is still shaken. We see her in the shed staring at Roger's doll of a body, right? She's giving Martin vibes, right? She can't let go of the fact that she still hears the voices of everyone that has died previously. She believes that even in death, none of them will ever be able to escape Fromville. So coming into this episode, Henry is unstable, Mary is unstable, and Boyd, I mean, we'll get there, but he has his own version that he's not being honest about. Because when Christy asked him, are you still seeing visions? He lied. He said no, right? This whole thing is like planning to take on a boss in a video game, but all of your characters are low on health and the strongest ones are poisoned or injured. The way I see it, Henry and Mary are private, undisclosed examples of Sophia's strategy to sow doubt within the group. However, Roger makes it all public, right? Sophia took an egg from the chicken coop. She said an incantation, broke it over Roger's chest, said it's time to play. And then later that night, he kicks in the colony house door. I don't know what it is with these dolls, but they kicking open the door like the like the Kool-Aid man, right? Imagine the people inside colony house have spent this entire cycle trusting one rule. You're safe indoors with the talisman up. The talisman is what keeps the monsters out, and people are able to sleep because of that rule. But when Roger breaks the door open, all that goes out the window. The monsters now have a weapon that can break into the house even if the talisman is up. Now, everyone inside Colony House has to ask the same question. Is any house still safe? And that is what I mean when I say Roger is a public example of Sophia sowing doubt. And the practical fallout is bigger than it looks. Because think about this. Any of the small houses in town with 2 or 3 people, they can't realistically post a sentry every single night. People need to sleep. So if the town is now forced to gather into larger groups just to feel protected, that creates more pressure, stress, conflict, and more chances for Sophia to push them toward exactly what she told the pastor was her favorite part: people turning on each other. So when I saw Sophia smiling during the chaos at Colony House, I didn't think it was just because Roger might kill somebody. I think she was smiling because it was playtime. We probably won't see the full fallout until, like later in episode 8, maybe episode 9, of course. But there's no way anyone in Colony House feels safe after that. Like something just came in the door and cracked the little bit of sanctuary and safety that they had wide open in that moment. And I'm not sure how many people really put that together while watching the episode. And then I had another disturbing thought right after that. And it also had to do with Sophia's smile. Remember, Victor said the man in yellow ate Miranda, and Julie saw him eating someone too. We saw that one. So if fear is part of what the man in yellow wants from people, then it almost works like Pennywise in It, right? The fear makes the meal taste better, right? There's even a real world parallel for this concept. With meat, stress before slaughter can affect the quality and flavor, which is why animals are usually stunned quickly before they're killed, right? It reminds me of the bolt gun that Anton uses in No Country for Old Men. Poof, it's really quick. That's what they use, right? So I know that sounds dark, but that's the image Sophia gave me in that scene, right? She wasn't just watching people panic. She was standing at the top of those steps, looking at the room like it was 5 p.m. on Thanksgiving Day, right? She wasn't just reacting to chaos. She was prepping her meal. Therefore, this is a new kind of nighttime problem. Not that the talismans don't work anymore, but that the dolls make them almost useless. Yes, they now have totems, and the totems can kill the dolls, but clearly, as we saw with the monsters, they have limited uses, and all the rules associated with the totems aren't yet understood, right? And of course, we have no reason to believe that Sophia can't make more dolls. In fact, there are still 2 other dolls roaming around outside, right? The bigger problem is that the totems are limited. There's not nearly as many as, they're not nearly as many totems as there are talismans. And we have yet to see anything that suggests that Tabitha even remembers how to make more totems. I mean, I don't remember how many there are, but in my mind, I'm saying 3, but let's just say there's 5 total. There's not enough totems to protect them from if Sophia goes out and starts bringing more things to life. On top of that, the reason Boyd didn't go out to execute his own failed plan is because his body is in poor shape, and Kenny and Ellis can see it, and they called him out on it, right? So that's why Kenny ended up going out in Boyd's place. And Boyd's body isn't the only thing failing. We're seeing his mind slip as well, right? Boyd looks through the Viewmaster and sees an image of his wedding day, except it's not a real image, it's a vision. Something is still targeting him. Something is still pulling at him through Abby and his past. And he isn't being fully honest about any of it. Therefore, what we're seeing in each episode is Boyd's desperation to give the town hope. And they finally do have something. A possible weapon. They found a door. They're finally starting to share information, coming up with a plan. Finally. Boyd wants that all to mean progress. Matter of fact, he needs it to mean progress. But that desperation is also what made him vulnerable in the post office with Sophia. And it's what may make him dangerous going forward. Because if Boyd is this compromised above ground, I mean, if he can't even do a simple test run himself, right? He's still seeing things and he's not giving people the full picture of his ailments, then Boyd shouldn't be the one leading people into something underground that they still don't even have a complete understanding of yet. Now, 147 of you answered last week's poll asking which moment from episode 6 would matter most in episode 7. And I think the results are interesting because all 4 options mattered, just not in the same way. See, Boyd finding Jade's door came in first at 48%, and I think the audience was right. The door is the story engine of this episode. We don't spend much time at the door itself, but the door causes almost everything Boyd does, right? Jade mapping the tunnels, Randall's having to share information about how the monsters move, the totem test, Kenny going outside. I mean, like all of it is preparation for whatever they think is behind the door. But that is also the problem because episode 7 doesn't make them look ready. I mean, like I said, it makes them look like a party that's trying to fight a final boss while everybody is low on health. Mary isn't in her right mind. Christy is injured. Donna is bedridden. Boyd's body is breaking down. Fatima has this golem that we don't know what it does, but she may also be compromised. Sophia is inside of Colony House, which is exactly where the door is. Victor is trying to prepare Ethan for something that Tabitha doesn't want him to face. And Ellis has to watch his father fall apart after already losing one parent to this town. And the episode isn't hiding any of the danger, right? Mary already suggested that the door might be a trap. It might be foreshadowing that maybe the mushroom trip isn't really giving them the answers that they're looking for. And the interesting part is that when Mary said that, Boyd concurred. He said that he too considered that the door might be a trap. And then Jade says that if the door was sealed when him and Randall was down there, that it might be for a good reason. So clearly, the door matters. We know that, but not like an answer. In this episode, it felt more like a warning. Now, Sophia manipulating Henry came in second at 32%, and I think this is the one people understood but didn't fully lean into. I felt like I was one of the few content creators on YouTube that really put weight on the Henry Abby parallel after episode 6, and episode 7 confirmed it. And the strongest evidence isn't Henry rejecting Boyd in the meeting. I mean, that could be seen as grief, denial, alcohol, being overwhelmed. The real evidence is the hospital visions, because those visions give his denial something physical to hold on to, right? He's seeing somewhere else, a hospital, medical equipment, a nurse, Victor. Compared to Fromville, that probably will eventually feel stable, right? Once he's not drunk anymore and he's able to think about it, think clearly, he's like, yo, you know what? Like, I might want to be there, right? The danger is step by step. And Sophia is pushing him toward believing that this is a dream, some sort of coma, at the very least, a false reality. And the visions are making that feel credible to him. Now, if those visions ever show him Eloise or Miranda, it's a wrap, right? Like, because once Henry starts believing his family is waiting for him somewhere else, death might start looking like the way to get there. Now, that could mean that he tries to, in future episodes, that he tries to trigger the visions himself. But it could also mean that if he follows Abby's logic closely, that he might want to save Victor before he tries anything else. Save, right? Now, the problem is, regardless of which version, it still makes Henry a threat that the town doesn't even know it has yet. Now, I also want to flag the shared hospital imagery between Henry and Tabitha and put a pin in that so that we remember that for future episodes, right? Because we don't know yet if that means that the boy in white is involved, but the fact that both Tabitha and Henry have seen hospitals means that there's probably something there. And you guys have mentioned previously in comments that you don't trust the boy in white. So I wanted to bring that up and let you know I see it, I hear it, and we're going to keep track of that. Now, Julie's warnings matter here too, because every time, as she says, every time someone in this town believes that they found their purpose, someone gets hurt. And Henry may be next, because he might see his purpose as waking people up. Roger being turned into a doll came in lower, but that number undersells what the episode actually showed. I mean, we already covered what Roger breaking into Colony House like the Kool-Aid man does to the protection rule. But thinking about it now, Roger may be proof that Sophia has an entire other category of weaponry the town isn't prepared for yet. Not just a doll, but some sort of system in which she can take something dead and activate it. And what's truly dangerous about it is that she could do it during the day. We haven't seen the dolls moving during the day, so I want to keep an eye on that as well, because she did activate, or she did do the first part of the incantation during the day, but she activated the doll at night, I think, as, you know, like a battering ram for the monsters. But it'd be interesting to see what abilities she has during the day, because remember, she made Miranda have the chains like Martin, and that was during the middle of the day. So clearly her powers do work in the day as well. So I want to know what else she can activate, what else she can do. Now, we thought that it was the lake that had brought the dolls to life, but that may not be the case at all. We never actually see what brings them to life. We just know that the group that went to the lake pulled the dolls out, and then while they were inside of whatever contraption that was. It was like a little hut type of thing. It broke through. So we didn't actually get to see what brought them to life, right? And then we have Fatima finishing the golem, which came in last at 6%. And honestly, I understand why it came in at the bottom of the poll. And that's really because we still don't know what the golem actually did in this episode or does it all, right? We don't know if her finishing it changed anything. Fatima was already connected to Smiley before she made the golem, right? She built the golem because that connection to Smiley was scaring her. She needed this symbolic protection from whatever he was making her feel and sense. So maybe the golem is protection or an amplifier or a doorway. I mean, we don't really know yet, but what episode 7 confirms is that Fatima herself is now one of the most important questions in the show. Not because she chose to help the other side, but because she may be connected to Smiley in a way that makes her an unwilling entity, doorway, passageway for the monsters, Sophia, the opposite side, the town, to get information. So remember, only 6% voted for Fatima, yet I spent this entire video arguing that she may be one of the biggest reasons that Boyd's plan failed. Be sure to vote in the new poll pinned in the comments below.